It is week 2, day 3, which means it's day 8 overall, the halfway point of CDL or bust. We are with our friend Joey Wilson Jr. Joey, you had kind of an interesting morning. Why don't you tell our viewers what the heck happened?
I guess the truck broke down for a little bit. We pulled in and shut it off, and it just starter had a flat spot in it or wiggled wire, but we got it started back up.
Who was behind the wheel when this happened?
I just got done parking it, but the trainer was starting the truck back up, and it wouldn't start. So.
Was that Ed or Sean, or who was the trainer?
Jimmy.
Jimmy, okay. And so Jimmy didn't say, Joey, you killed my truck or something like that.
No. Sean did whenever I got back. But,
So where had you parked it? Where were you?
Out in Bardstown.
On a highway, or where were you?
No, we were at a fuel station.
So I guess that's a good place. You weren't blocking traffic and causing Joey Wilson to get mentioned on traffic reports or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. That's never good.
So nobody, even Jimmy doesn't really know exactly what happened then, why it stopped and then just started all over again.
I think it was just, like I said, either just the starter may have been caught, at a little flat spot, or it was a loose wire or something. I know they held a wire after a second and it started, but, it took about an hour to take care of.
An hour? So
yeah.
What'd you do for an hour?
Sat in the truck and smoked cigarettes on the outside of the truck.
How far is Bardstown from Shepherdsville?
It's a little bit down there. It's in Nelson County. So.
Had you driven yourself? Had you driven all the way from TAT to Bardstown when this happened?
No, Teddy drove from the rest area to Dixie Highway, and I drove from Dixie Highway to Bardstown. So.
Roughly how far do you think you drove this morning?
I don't know, like I said, it was about an hour and a half, hour 20 minutes.
No, when you were behind the wheel, like how many miles do you think you drove?
I honestly don't know.
Okay. How did it go driving? Because I know you're so used to driving a dump truck, which some people, in the class have no experience behind the wheel of a big rig. But this was had you driven yesterday at all, or was this your first time behind the wheel out on the open road?
On the open road, it was today. It was the first day.
So how did it go? It feel good?
Yeah, it was good. It's a little bit different because you got a big section that doesn't want to follow you exactly, behind you. So
sort of like having a kid who doesn't want to listen all the time, huh?
Oh yeah, kind of. You just gotta get back in line.
No real issues though with you, not with the shifting or even the parking. Nothing real.
Yeah. Jimmy said I did real good. So
how'd you feel you did?
I think I did pretty good.
Could you imagine passing your test right now? Do you need the next 8 days?
I'm sure it wouldn't hurt now,
So Teddy was explaining to me how this works. So I thought it was just you and an instructor. So there are 2 of you guys in the cab plus an instructor?
Yeah, there's like a bench seat in the back where, whenever we get an hour of driving done, we'll pull over to a safe spot somewhere, whether it be, a fuel station or the rest area or, wherever. And then we'll switch, seats, and then the trainer will still be up front training. But we're in the back.
So the way it worked this morning, Jimmy drove out of TAT's property to a rest area. Teddy took over then you guys switched and you drove to the gas station where the issue happened.
Yeah.
On the way back, did you guys drive or did Jimmy drive the whole way?
Jimmy drove, just in case there was any more issues. Plus, we already had our hour of drive time, so.
Right. Was Jimmy kind of embarrassed that this happened? Because I'm sure that they don't like the instructional trucks breaking down with you guys.
I don't think he was embarrassed, just more aggravated than anything, but things happen, things break.
Right.
What's
the worst thing that's happened to you when you've been driving professionally your dump truck? What's the craziest thing that's happened?
I've had a hub assembly come apart on me, and then I've had a rear drive shaft completely come off with a slip yoke. So.
Never lost a load when those things happen?
No.
So you haven't had any kind of accidents where like a whole dump truck full of, I don't know what, dirt or something, and it went all over the highway or something like that?
No, I ain't never had an accident or nothing, so.
Good for you, knocking wood. How'd Teddy do this morning? How'd Teddy do this morning, Joe?
He did pretty good. He just, Jimmy talked to him and everything, talked as way through it. That's the first time he's been out there on the road, and of course, all he's done is been in the truck on the range out here. Before that, he hadn't ever been in nothing, like a majority of the people in the class. So, but I think he did pretty good, especially for his first time.
He said last week, I talked to him, I guess I talked to him the day he got his permit when he had missed up the day before, that you gave him some pointers and helped out to get he and Russell over the hump. What did you do?
And I told him that I understood where it was coming from after giving him, a bunch of grief about it. But I told him, if he needed anything, contact me. He did, of course. It was like 10:30. He contacted me on Facebook and told me to give him a call. So I did, and, just stepped him through some stuff. He had some questions about it.
Was it something you think he really needed, or he just kind of needed to hear from somebody else who'd been through it, that, you're going to be okay?
Yeah, I think he just wasn't sure because I know he was doing practice tests, and he just wasn't sure about some of the things. So I helped him out the best I could, and I guess, helped him get over the little bit of nervousness and everything.
So when he passed the next day, did you feel like you had a little piece of it? Did you feel pretty good? Did you help him out?
Oh, yeah, of course. Like I said, if any of them would, want to contact me, if I can help any of them out, it's no problem with me.
10 days ago, Joe, you guys didn't know anybody. None of you guys had ever met. Now that kind of thing happened so quickly. It seems like you guys really are doing some bonding now, huh?
Yeah. It's like a job, if you, start working someplace, you end up getting, colleagues and work friends,
Right.
Plus, of course, the trainers here, it could be several years down the road, a couple months or whatever, you still might stay in contact with one of them or stop in at the school because, they're good people and, they have plenty of years under their belt, they can help you out.
Can you imagine after this thing is done, you guys all have your CDLs, ever going out for a beer with any of the guys, any other people in the class?
Well, I'm sure, they're all a good group of people,
I know we talked last week about the UK-UL rivalry. The football season starts this week. UL's playing tomorrow night, UK's playing Saturday. Anybody talking? I know both schools are a little more basketball than football, especially UK. But is there any kind of trash talking going on? Any bets being placed on any of this stuff, or who's got a better gear?
No, I would say not that I know of. Of course, everybody wears their UK, U of L stuff, but everybody right now I think is just more preoccupied and concerned with getting through his school and taking in all the information that they need to learn and just so they can pass this test.
Now, you're Joey Wilson, ace driver, from what I understand. You really need the time on the range this afternoon? What are you going to work on the most? Is the offset thing kind of throwing you off a little bit?
Yes and no. Ed yesterday helped out a lot and got that down, just if you listen to exactly what they tell you to do, it gets right where it needs to be. It's just doing it the easiest way, you're not trying to do it your way.
With a dump truck, you don't have to really do something quite that, and it's not nearly as long. So has that been kind of the hardest thing to get used to, is trying to offset park this huge vehicle?
No, what the hardest thing is for me is, because I've been used to driving trailers and everything before, it's a totally different backup point, pinch point from driving just a regular trailer, and it's a little bit, different to get a hold of. Like the dump truck, it's a straight truck. There ain't got no bend in it,
Right.
The back end don't go the opposite way, so.
Has this week so far, 3 days in, been more fun than last week, being out in the truck or on the range versus sitting in the classroom?
Well, yeah, of course it's always, better to get, go out there and get hands on, sit in the classroom all day, or I think everybody gets a little bit bored of it,
And you mentioned bonding with the trainers. Kathy Joe's been great with our Skyping, and I'm sure Debbie's come and talked to you guys some. What about Pumpkin the cat? Has Pumpkin bonded with you?
Every now and then, I'll see Pumpkin, I'll pet him and all that, but that's about the extent of that.
I think Pumpkin's picture should be on their business cards for Truck America training. Pumpkin's been around a long time. You have a pet at home?
Huh?
Do you have any pets at home?
Yeah, 2 dogs.
You think Pumpkin can tell you got 2 dogs and smell the dogs on you?
I don't think Pumpkin's even concerned about that.
All right. So what do you got going the rest of the week, Joe? You know what's going on in the next couple of days? Just on the road, or what's going to happen?
It'll be either the beginning part, like the morning or the afternoon, and then switch off. Like if we go out in the morning, the afternoon we'll do range. If we do range in the morning, we'll be out in the truck in the afternoon on the road.
And when you were on the road today, did you actually get on 65? Were you on a highway, or were you just on local roads this morning?
Yeah, I was on 65. I went from Dixie to 65 to Joe Prather down to no. Once we got on Joe Prather, we went back on 65, went down to the Bluegrass Parkway, and then took the Bardstown exit.
Did you feel when you were going, I don't know how fast you were going, maybe 60 miles, 65 miles an hour? It's pretty cool to be driving that thing at that fast and feeling like, you kind of own the road.
Well, yeah, it's pretty wide too, just like that dump truck. So
Right.
just
I
got to
mean,
always pay attention to your mirrors.
and I know, as we just mentioned dump trucks again, you've driven professionally more than anybody in the class, maybe except for Jason. Well, Anna, but she drove a bus. Do you have any kind of newfound appreciation at all for what truck drivers do and how they do it?
Well, I mean, I've always had respect for them because they're bigger than most vehicles. You got to give them leeway, just like motorcycles. You got to pay attention to them. So.
All right. Hey, listen, really appreciate your time. Good luck the rest of the week, and we'll talk to you next week. That's our friend Joey Wilson Jr., who had an interesting morning, but turns out everybody's safe, and that's good. All right. Thanks, Joey.
Yep, have a good one.